What's up everyone and welcome back to Nexus. With borders getting tighter and stricter and the world's police forces trying to crack down on the narcotics industry, you'd think that maybe there would actually be less drugs on the streets and less people using them. But we all know that's not true. Partly down to the ingenuity of those people peddling drugs and the strange and inventive methods they use to get the substances into the country in the first place. Watch this video to find out the top 10 craziest ways drug dealers smuggle drugs. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get new content similar to this every day. Also, make sure to comment down below letting us know which was your favorite. And for this video, let's see if we can hit the golden like button, which is 1,000 likes, so make sure to drop a like down below. Number 10. One of the craziest things about life in general is probably the existence of t-shirt cannons, which are even featured heavily in an episode of The Simpsons where Flanders' wife dies after getting shot by one and falling off the bleachers. So they pack quite a punch. That's probably why Mexican drug gangs have taken to using them to get drugs across the border without being caught by America's far-spread border patrol. But they're not wrapping the drugs in t-shirts, they're filling old soup cans with them, and it's marijuana to be specific. The authorities found out about this when a concerned resident contacted them about a bunch of weird cans, and inside they contained about 85 pounds of weed with a street value of $42,000. While this is quite a lot, it makes you wonder if there were more cans that actually did get picked up by their intended recipients. Number 9. If it was 2012 and you wanted to venture out to the imperial sand dunes of Southern California, you might come across a very unusual structure. That's because two drug smugglers were caught trying to cross over in a jeep full of drugs, and they did this by building a makeshift ramp out of sheets and metal and balancing it on a 14-foot high wall. As you may expect, this didn't go well, and the jeep got stuck pretty awkwardly on top of it. Eventually, the smugglers inside gave up and bailed, scrambling back down the ramp on the other side to get back into Mexico after taking their carload of pot with them, and just leaving the jeep balanced there. I guess the next step would be to tunnel underneath the border wall to try and sneak drugs into the US.
The suspected smugglers recently drove a jeep over their own makeshift ramp, which was built over a 14-foot high border fence near the imperial sand dunes in Southern California. The vehicle's two occupants fled the scene, running back into Mexico when border officials made their way towards them. The jeep apparently got stuck and began teetering while at the top of the ramp. The two suspects remain at large and the SUV turned out to be empty, but officials believe it was probably filled with marijuana before it got stuck. Last year, a similar incident occurred.
Number 8. We've all seen the part in We Are the Millers where Jennifer Aniston is pretending a bag of weed is her baby. But this smuggler takes it to the next level by trying to carry 2 kilograms of cocaine on an airplane flight from Colombia to Canada. Unlike in the movie, she doesn't do this by carrying it in very obvious blanket, but instead using a fake pregnant belly attachment to pretend to be pregnant. She was caught because she answered very aggressively to staff simply asking her how far gone she was. And then when they touched her abdomen, they thought it felt too cold and hard to belong to a real pregnant woman during a routine pat-down. The cocaine was worth about $60,000, and the woman will probably never be allowed to be a social worker again. This story does get you thinking of when people in movies and TV are forced to smuggle drugs under unusual circumstances though, and maybe she didn't go to Colombia with the intention of bringing 2 large bags of coke back with her.
The woman was caught at Bogota's international airport as she was trying to board a flight to Toronto while wearing a fake belly. The inspector questioned the woman about her pregnancy and she allegedly reacted aggressively, which aroused suspicion. The inspector then touched the belly and felt it was too cold and hard, which led to further inspection. After performing a body search, police found 2 sealed bags containing 2 kilograms of cocaine stashed inside the latex belly.
Number 7. First they tried launching weed out of cannons, then driving it over a 14-foot wall. And now the Mexican drug gangs are trying to airdrop little parcels of marijuana across their border with America. The planes they're using are ultra light and fly incredibly low. Also that they avoid detection by radar systems, and are only discovered when people on the ground spot them, which is probably too late to stop them from ferrying their expensive bundles into the desert. According to one news outlet, the planes are basically motorized hang gliders. They're so light, and don't have any glass in the cockpit, so that the armed pilots can shoot at anyone who might be trying to stop them from delivering their precious cargo. These planes are so dangerous when flying them at night and overloaded with weed that even the cops trying to prevent it are impressed, with one detective saying the pilots have a lot of guts. Number 6. Again, this is a case of people getting caught smuggling because they just ended up acting suspicious, like they don't know the easiest way to get away with anything is being cool and collected. This guy was picked up for speeding in Louisiana, and on top of that, he was also driving with an expired license. I'm pretty sure he's one of the worst drug dealers in the world. As if this wasn't bad enough, the interesting part of this story is that he was smuggling the marijuana in old cereal boxes. Like, it's totally not weird for cops to pull over a guy for speeding and think nothing of the fact he has a bunch of cereal with him. Maybe he thought they just think he was concerned about his fiber intake. Regardless, he got caught and immediately admitted that the drugs were for distribution out in Mississippi, so he's probably going to be going to prison for a long time. Number 5. Drug smugglers thought that the authorities would never question a pregnant woman with a stomach full of coke. And using that same logic, they also thought they wouldn't question a woman in a wheelchair landing at JFK in June this year. And they were kind of right, because it was the sniffer dogs that picked up on the fact she was actually a smuggler. When they searched the chair, they found half a dozen huge bricks of cocaine with an estimated street value of almost $500,000. It's pretty incredible that there's still so many illegal substances going into America when security seems to be pretty vigilant and wise to the clever ways smugglers are trying to pass drugs under their noses. Although, if she didn't have any drugs, they would have felt pretty bad about taking a disabled person out of their wheelchair. It makes you wonder if they've ever done that by mistake. Number 4. A young woman from Honduras was arrested 2 summers ago for trying to bring liquid cocaine into Spain using fake breasts. Initially, you might think they're using the same idea as the fake pregnant woman, but it's a lot more gruesome than that. She was smuggling the coke and breast implants, which are pretty extreme lengths for drug mules to be forced to go to, having actual surgery to have drugs put into them. Plus, breast implants are dangerous enough when they rupture and full of silicone. This woman would probably end up overdosing pretty hard if these ones split. Again, she was arrested because she was jittery and noticed because of this. And she was so scared when she was taken to be x-rayed that she confessed to what was going on and the dangerous implants were removed and destroyed. Number 3. Remember what I said earlier in the video about how the drug smugglers were going to have to start tunneling underneath the border? Well, they actually have. In fact, they've been digging tunnels for quite a while. This one was discovered 5 years ago in Tijuana by the Mexican army. Luckily, this particular tunnel had yet been completed and had only just managed to reach the border itself, though it was already 650 feet long. The entrance was hidden in a warehouse and was supposedly heading towards San Diego. Between 1990 and 2012, 156 tunnels were discovered crossing the border, and the longest one ever found was also in Tijuana but was over 900 feet long and even had an elevator in it. The incomplete one was found after a truck pulled over in a routine stop turned out to be carrying 39 pounds of cocaine. Number 2. It was a sorry end for almost 2,500 coconuts when last year they had their insides scraped out and replaced with tightly packed packages of marijuana. And I hope the drug cartel who tried to send them over the border into Texas didn't just waste all the good parts. Although I guess the good bits are pretty easy to say goodbye to when you're replacing them with a $300,000 score. This truck was picked up by border protection officials and they discovered the hidden coconuts. In terms of pretending weed is fruit and vegetables though, this is a lot better than other methods where they just wrap the weed in paper and they look like limes, or in an orange tape to make them sort of look like carrots. It's not surprising that these things were all discovered and seized. Number 1. They've tried cars, they've tried boats, they've tried planes, and even tunnels. But the last mode of transportation to be hijacked by the narcotics industry is submarines. Yep, they've really got submarines they're using to bring drugs into America. It was found by the crew of a long-range tracker working jointly with the authorities to find things exactly like this. And when the submarine was intercepted, it was carrying basically as much cocaine as it could handle, estimated to be worth almost $194 million. Remarkably, about 30% of all drugs smuggled into America via the sea come from submarines. And unfortunately for both the smugglers and the officials, this particular haul ended up lost at sea. I wonder if the Colombian drug lords are going to try and recover it, because it's nearly 200 million and it's just sitting there at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. That was our list of the top 10 craziest ways drug dealers smuggle drugs. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video in the future. And hit the like button too so we hit the golden like of 1,000. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace!